The Honourable First Minister.
This member politicizes the judiciary every single day when he rises in this chamber, and he criticizes the actions of judges, and then he tries to attribute them to my colleague from Concordia. The temerity, the nerve to come forward and ask that question just shows the complete lack of integrity and disingenuous nature of the members opposite. We have a system of balancing arms of government. The legislative and executive arms are balanced by the judicial branch of government. There will be no cross-pollination or interference. This Bill 50 will do exactly what is designed to ensure that the judiciary branch can rule on the overreaches of the
The Honourable Member for Lac du Bonny.
So it's interesting, Honourable Speaker, that the First Minister stands up today, the member for Fort Rouge, and once again is far more showman than statesman, as his whole diatribe introducing the second reading to this bill, Honourable Speaker. So I'm asking the Premier, has the judiciary or the bar been consulted on Bill 50? And instead of slandering anybody else in this chamber, how about stand up and answer a question for a change?
The Honourable First Minister.
That means it's not true.
It's not slander, it's the Globe and Mail. That's right. It's the Globe and Mail, the national newspaper of record. The member was right there on the grand staircase, popping his little pose in front of their camera. Yep, that's the direction we got to go in, attack LGBT children in this province. I mean, you could have gone out there and you could have said, hey, I'm against tariffs. You could have gone out there and said, hey, I want healthcare to be better. You could have gone out there and said, hey, we should focus on the economy. The national newspaper of record, you're one shot as interim leader to communicate something to the people of Canada. What does he do? He swings down at LGBT children. Of course I'm going to call that out, because that's the exact kind of behavior Bill 50 will present.
Expired. The Honourable Member for Lac du Bonny.
So thank you, Honourable Speaker, and it sounds like the Minister for Housing wants to stand up and apologize for her Premier getting out of hand once again in the chamber, Honourable Speaker. So just answer the question, Premier. I'm going to ask you again. Has the judiciary or the bar...
Order, please. Order, please. Order, please. I would ask members to make sure they address their questions and answers through the chair. Honourable Member for Lac du Bonny.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. So again, through you, Honourable Chairperson, unless you're the one who's going to answer the question, because obviously we're not getting any answers from the Premier, through you to the Premier, can he answer the question whether the judiciary or the bar has been consulted on Bill 50, Honourable Speaker?
The Honourable First Minister.
Honourable Speaker, I know that you and the chair should never be politicized in this chamber. We actually have consulted a court. It happens to be the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. We have intervened against Bill 21. We've done so with the same principle in mind here in Bill 50. That a court, even though they can't strike down Section 33 or a law passed under it, should still be able to rule whether somebody's rights are being trampled on. Time was, the PCs used to oppose Bill 21 as well. Yeah. Brian Pallister took out ads in Quebec against it. And now look at them today. How far they have fallen. Yep.
The Honourable Member for Brandon West.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and would the Premier agree that Bill 50 risks creating constitutional uncertainty rather than clarity by inviting redundant and potentially conflicting judicial opinions?
The Honourable First Minister.
There you have it. Yep. Asking a court to rule whether your human rights are being respected by a government in this province, the member for Brandon West says is redundant. That's the entitlement that leads members opposite to break the law and to say that they were only doing their job. And you know what is different about people on this side of the House? The entitlement isn't there because we had to fight for what we have. It was never given to people on this side of the House. In living memory, people couldn't vote. People, oh, we just heard the one who just, okay, I'll return to this in the next set of questions because I know that my time is growing short.
The honourable member for Lac du Bonny.
So it's interesting, Honourable Speaker, that the Premier stands up, the MLA for Fort Rouge, the one who, if we're looking around this chamber, Honourable Speaker,
Order.
is the one who actually has a record, Honourable Speaker. So once again, we would uphold our record compared to his each and every day, Honourable Speaker. So I asked the Premier, how will he prevent this process from politicizing the judiciary by forcing the courts to comment on legislation before it is even applied?
The Honourable First Minister.
I want the permanent record of this Assembly to show that when I was talking about the fact that my father was not allowed to vote in this country, the member for Red River North said in a sarcastic voice, wah, wah.
Gross.
The man has debased himself already, being a history maker in breaking the ethics law for the first time in Manitoba. He debased his bank account by paying a fine for the first time in Manitoba history, and now he shows his complete lack of respect for the common history that we all share as Canadians. It is that sort of lack of self-awareness and understanding of our legal framework that is exactly the reason we need Bill 50 to ensure that future governments are going to be kept in check by the judiciary.
Time has expired. The honourable member for Lac du Bonny.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And I see the Premier is a little rattled over there, and he's the only Premier, the MLA for Fort Rouge, who will go down in history of the only Premier being charged with domestic violence. So let the record show today, Honourable
Order, please. Order. Order. People need to calm down. There's no need to holler back and forth. The honourable member for Lac du Bonny.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. So it gives me a great pleasure to then finish my question, Honourable Speaker. So will this bill create a chilling effect on future legislatures, discouraging them from using Section 33, even in cases where there's a demonstrable necessity and democratically supported?
Member's time has expired. Order, please. The Honourable Minister of Health, or Education and Early Childhood Learning needs to come to order. The Honourable First Minister.
Say what you want about me. The Ethics Commissioner has said that their Premier, their leader, broke the law and violated the Constitution and was fined by $18,000. What an embarrassment. What a shame. What an abomination. And they don't say that there's anything wrong with that. That's why Bill 50 is important. It's clear they don't respect our Constitution now. They were just found to have violated it, and they don't acknowledge that reality. Bill 50 will keep that entitlement in check. That's right.
The Honourable Member for Brandon West.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And after reading through this bill, I've had a number of questions, but this one here is, can the Minister or the Premier clarify who would prepare the reference questions to the Court of Appeal and whether that process would be transparent to the public or controlled by Cabinet?
The Honourable First Minister.
Yeah, that process will be transparent. It will be the complete opposite of what the member for Red River North and Heather Stephenson and their current House Leader and Cliff Cullen all did, which was after you voted them out of office, they tried to rush through a controversial sand mine that was ultimately rejected. I want to thank the civil servants who blocked them from their unethical behavior. I want to thank the Ethics Commissioner for shining a light on this. This is not partisan, what I'm talking about here. These are all facts, agreed upon facts, agreed upon by every single member of the PCs who unanimously voted to fine the member for Red River North. The thing that no one understands...
Member's time has expired.
Why?
The honourable member for Lac Du Bonny.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. If a law includes a Section 33 declaration, but no one challenges it, I'd like to ask the Premier, is there any constitutional or democratic necessity for judicial involvement at all? And it'd be great if the Premier would actually answer a question in these 15 minutes of Q&A time, Honourable Speaker.
The Honourable First Minister.
Yes. Because you have to do the right thing even when no one is looking. And when you're out in the Globe and Mail, you shouldn't be mean to trans kids. When you're given the opportunity to sit in the front bench, you shouldn't attack vulnerable kids. I would be ashamed if I did something like that during my political career. Perhaps a member would like to apologize to everybody.
The time for questions has expired. The floor is open for debate. The honourable member for Red River North.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. On a point of order.
The honourable member for Red River North on a point of order.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. During the Premier's comments and answers to a question that he didn't answer, he had mentioned that I was making sounds towards his father not being able to vote. I disagree with that comment. And
Order, please.
I would ask the Premier at his earliest convenience to table that those comments and answer. I'd also like to, if I may, Honourable Speaker, if I may, comment on another comment that to this point of order that the Premier had made to the grandchildren of every sitting member in this House. He's essentially threatened every single member of this House. For over 100 years, they'll never sit in here, particularly the PC grandchildren, who I am a grandfather of 5, Honourable Speaker. I take offence to that. I know everybody on this side of the House took offence to that. And I hope to heck that everybody on that side that has grandkids took offence to that as well. Honourable Speaker, that is not parliamentary.
Order, please. The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning needs to quit hollering across the way when the member's talking about a point of order. I need to hear what he's saying. The honourable member for Red River North.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for your guidance there. Look, we are here to debate legislation. We're here to debate it for Manitobans, Honourable Speaker, and we're here to make the right decisions for Manitobans. However, when it gets personal, like the First Minister did today, on grandchildren for next generations that may want to run for office one day, well, they better not be looking across the aisle at the Premier currently right now, Honourable Speaker, because the last thing they want to do, Honourable Speaker, is ever put their name on a ballot and work as hard as every single member, by the way, sitting in this legislature, worked hard to get elected and got elected to apparently come here and simply ridicule and not understand the facts of the right we have to sit in this legislative assembly every single day on behalf of Manitobans. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Before recognizing any other member to speak on this point of order, I would ask members to please keep their comments relevant to this point of order. The Honourable Minister of Health.
Honourable Speaker, the member for Red River North made a lot of comments in his point of order. I'll start by saying that it is clearly not a valid or appropriate point of order that he's brought forward for your consideration. I will also state that the reason the Premier put those remarks on the permanent record of this House is because it is so important that when a member who has been found not only in violation of the law and is being held accountable by the Ethics Commissioner and fined, that's happened, that's for the record of the House, and we know that. But it's also important that when the Premier stands up and in his remarks, his debate about a really important bill, Bill 50 he's brought forward, references the fact that Indigenous people, up until recent memory, including his father, did not have the legal right to vote in this country. That when a member of that caucus, the member for Red River North, who has violated our Constitution and broken the law, says openly in this House and makes the gesture of wah, wah, which was observed by everybody on this side of the House, not one time, but twice. The Premier has the right, and I would argue perhaps even the responsibility, to ensure the permanent record of this House reflects that behavior. The Premier made clear statements about the fact that democracy needs to be protected, not just for today, but for generations of Manitobans and Canadians to come. And that as elected people, we have an obligation, a duty to uphold and protect democracy and, yes, our Constitution, which is why Bill 50 is being brought forward. Now, the member for Red River North might not like when someone in this House puts remarks on the record that do not allow for him to hide his bad behavior, the same way the member for Red River North did not like that the Ethics Commissioner found him guilty of breaking the law and that he had to pay a fine to Manitobans. But the bottom line is this, Honourable Speaker, that the permanent record of this House should reflect the actions of members within it. That's right. So when the member for Red River North stands up and puts words on the record, and you'll notice in his remarks, he didn't deny the gesture that he made, and he didn't deny the comments that he made. He doubled down on it, in fact. It's really important, Honourable Speaker, that we reflect on the context of where that comes from. And so, yes, we know it's not a point of order. I think that, Honourable Speaker, that's your decision to make, but I think that's very clear for this House. But I do want to reinforce and reiterate what's happened here today. The member for Red River North rose on a point of order to double down on making comments and gestures that degraded and minimized the recent, in living memory, history of Indigenous people being denied the right to vote in our country. And that is shameful. Shame. And further, the member for Red River North minimized the importance of taking action today to protect and strengthen our democracy for generations to come. Not just for their grandchildren, but for all.
Order, please. The honourable member is using the point of order now for debate, not talking specifically about the point of order. So if they could keep their comments relevant to the point of order. The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'll heed your advice and say it is not a point of order. We should all be very thankful that we have the first First Nations Premier of this province who is courageous enough to share his own personal lived family experience as an example as to how we have to protect and strengthen democracy. And members on that side of the House are an example of what happens when you allow people with no ethics and no moral compass to bankrupt democracy.
Hear, hear.